We'll find out. Falling Flower, LeChonk, winner moves on to New York City for the America's Cup on October 8th. Let's figure it out.
Yep, let's see what happens here. Can Fallen Flower put the pieces together, or can LeChonk overcome Fallen Flower and end his road here in America's Cup?
So we see Falling Flower is taking first turn. So LeChonk has opted to take the next two picks here. So Falling Flower, if I was Falling Flower, I'd probably want to disrupt the AoE combo of LeChonk because Falling Flower can play this draft in so many different ways. So I would probably be looking to take out the Light Monkey as a pre-ban because that's just too powerful to face, and I would be looking to Oliver first pick or Masha first pick. So I think the Light Monkey makes a lot of sense. If I was LeChonk, I'd be looking to take out the Gurkha. The Gurkha is just such an impressive unit. We see what Thompson can do with it. It basically just shuts down the entire game once it goes off. So I think the pre-bans should be a Gurkha and a Light Monkey.
And a Tableau is going to get the pre-ban here, and of course Gurkha is going to get pre-banned by LeChonk.
Tableau makes sense as well. Wants to disrupt the turn one play of LeChonk and just cut down options. I think we're going to see a Masha. Masha should be the first pick here. Goes with the Molly here, and I'm not exactly sure about that. LeChonk's just going to punish this with an AoE pick here. Falling Flower needs to steal the Light Monkey, or else if he faces a Light Monkey, he's going to be in trouble.
Don't hide your disappointment or anything. Molly first pick coming out of Fallen Flower, and then of course that Water Ryu Moore and Chung Pong.
Yeah, so he's going to pick some stationary units with O'Reilly and the Dominic here. I'm not sure about the Verd. I actually don't like the Verd and Omali. I think LeChonk would be best suited to go into like some sort of a Light Monkey and then one more AoE unit, like a Savannah or something like that. Or if he has an Eludia, that would be great. Or some sort of AoE play. Daniel would be amazing. But Falling Flower, going with some turn 2 play. I mean, he really needs to, I guess, triple down on that. He needs a Ragdoll, needs a Tian Lang here. Don't think he has a Tian Lang, so I don't know if he's going to be able to come back. He does lay down the Wedget and Juno, though.
I'm not a big fan of seeing this Wedget here, wrapping up Fallen Flower's draft. LeChonk bringing in the Joe Gun. I think LeChonk's got a great draft going into Fallen Flower here.
Yeah, so if I'm LeChonk, I'm probably taking out the Wedget to disrupt turn 1. Taking out the Ferd is the worst ban you could make because now you let LeChonk open up with the more into Joe Gun, Chung Pong, and Light Monkey combination here. So I really don't think Falling Flower has a chance to win this one. We're going to be seeing LeChonk do everything in this match.
Yep, well, let's see what happens because he's got all skills available for LeChonk. He put units away, or he can just go for strips. Everything here, and he goes for that strip for Water Ryu Moore to get a little bit of attack roll pushback. Despair Stun on the Riley. Serious Matter coming out as well, reducing everybody's attack roll, getting the resets. The Giant Net comes in and locks down Fallen Flower right here.
Yeah, so LeChonk actually misusing Light Monkey a little bit. Should use skill 2 to gain attack bar into skill 3 there. Would be a little bit more efficient use of his turn orders. And that might come back to bite him. We'll see if that happens or not. That would have allowed him to get more skill 3s, but doesn't matter. He does get a proc there. But again, LeChonk could use his Light Monkey a little bit more effectively.
Yep, there's Juno bopping up right there, healing up the team just a little bit, looking for some Despair Stuns, not receiving anything. No Violent proc coming out of that Dominic there. Jogan looking for some attack bar pushback. Potential second skill might be coming out here on top of Fallen Flower's team there. No defense breaks are going to be landing either. Possible stuns coming out, and the Riley with additional turns popping up once again.
Yeah, that's a huge proc from that Light Monkey, and that's good night there. I don't think Falling Flower is a way to come back here. LeChonk's going to be doing a lot of damage here. That Molly is going to be able to do some healing here, but again, LeChonk does have a lot of aggression. Really like the tempo that he has right now.
Yep, all of LeChonk's units, they keep getting all their skills up, and it's just like AoE units after AoE units here. Dominic trying to find a window of any sort, lands that branding, trying to deal as much damage as possible, and Molly trying to heal up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure why LeChonk didn't go for the kill on the Juno there earlier with that Moore there. It's like he wants to keep playing this. It's like he wants to give his opponent a chance to come back and win. That was a giant misplay. He should have gone for the kill on the Juno here because now that Juno's going to come back and bite him here. Falling Flower might be able to come back and might be able to survive with this Molly and this Riley, but definitely some user error coming out from the side of LeChonk.
That's right. He used that skill, too, to get the additional turn, try to cycle back into a very reliable strip on top of Joe Gun here. You can see all the damage is going in towards that Molly right now. Fallen Flower doing all he can.
Yeah, Falling Flower doing all he can, but you know, at this point here, LeChonk has lost his window of opportunity to win here. Falling Flower does like to play passive, and if he really wants to be passive, he's so far ahead he could hit the auto button. LeChonk is definitely not taking out units, split his damage too much, did not take out that Juno, and LeChonk is going to be at a disadvantage.
No, Joe gonna go for the Serious Matter, reduce attack bar here. No reason to go for that second skill just yet. Looking to Fallen Flower looking to Despair Stun, try to take out that Joe Gun first.
Yeah, but again, with no lockdown from the Light Monkey here, LeChonk does not have enough steam to pull ahead, does not have burst, does not have a win condition. So Falling Flower is going to be taking this first one.
Yeah, most definitely. You could see more additional turns coming out of the Molly. That first skill's going to the Jogun. Juno looking to remove that Jogun from the field here, taking his time. Goes for the Predict Future anyways, does get the kill on the Jogun. Anyways, Despair stun sitting on top of the Chunk Punk. Riley with just so much sustain for Fallen Flower.
Yeah, not sure what LeChonk is still doing in this game here. It's over.
Yeah, 100%. LeChonk did have great opportunities to potentially win, and really, that Juno just turned everything around for Fallen Flower, and Fallen Flower is going to be taking round 1 away from LeChonk.
And I like how Falling Flower was taking a little bit of time there on this turn, like wondering what his opponent's still doing in that match there. I mean, LeChonk definitely did not use his skills effectively. Light Monkey, whenever it stuns a unit, gains about, I think it's 25% attack bar, right? Or 20%. So usually when your opponent's units are at 0% attack bar, you want to skill 2 into 3 to be very efficient with your attack bars and skills. Instead, he opts for skill 3 off the bat. Does get some proc, so it didn't really hurt him much, but look for that as to see how he uses his Light Monkey, because you're supposed to 2 into 3 if you can do so, because it lets you cycle better. And then not taking out that Juno allowed LeChonk to get Falling Flower to get a giant heal on his team. So LeChonk, I think, should have targeted units a little bit better there, because there's no way an opponent should ever get through a Chung Pong Light Monkey weapon.
Yeah, not at all. That was great. I guess the way the Fallen Flower was able to just survive and wade through it, just mistakes happened from LeChonk, just gave Fallen Flower basically that victory.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a Molly and a Riley, you're basically telling your opponent, if you can play this correctly, you win the game. And LeChonk did not pass the Guardian 2 test. So LeChonk not able to seal that, even though he had a Chung Pong Moore, Light Monkey, and Jogun lockdown. So kind of unfortunate for him, but and also that Jogun could have been a different pick. I think something to reset attack bars, something to manipulate that. Even a Ganny would have been a little bit better. The Light Monkey pre-ban, as we expected. I thought that Falling Flower should have pre-banned that before. Takes it out now. Makes a lot of sense. It's such an impressive unit.
Yep, and the Molly getting pre-banned as well. LeChonk with the first pick here over Fallen Flower.
So LeChonk's likely going to push aggression, as he usually does. Goes with the Moore first pick. And then we've seen the Molly pre-ban, which is interesting here. If I was LeChonk, I would let my opponent continue to play passive, because usually AoE aggression does very well into that. But again, if you're using units like LeChonk does, maybe you are afraid of that Molly. So we're going to see some Gurkha here coming out from Falling Flower. Again, not sure about the Gurkha at this point in time. I think he could have taken it a little later, because LeChonk doesn't have a Gurkha. I prefer him to fight for the same units. Masha's a great pick there. LeChonk would use that Masha to fight against him, and Masha's pretty good in the Gurkha. So great picks. Great pick on the Masha. Gurkha's an interesting one. LeChonk is going to push for that aggression, as we've seen though.
Yep, and we've got the Chung Punk coming out for LeChonk and that Verti-heal, similar units we saw into the previous match as well. So interesting to see Falling Flower not take contested units as his first picks and go for something that's completely uncontested in this match.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure, again, never sure about this Verti-heal pick, and especially into a Masha. And of course, you have that Gurkha on the field there. Quick laydowns of the Oliver and the Miles, and then even faster Tomo and Water Dryad. So I actually really like this Water Dryad pick. I like the Tomo. LeChonk showing different ways to control the match here. So Falling Flower definitely on the back foot. There's a lot of threat coming out from LeChonk's side of the field.
Most definitely Fallen Flower with one last pick here. He does have other LDs available. We could see almost anything coming out of him, but it looks like he's going to lock in an Antares against LeChonk here.
So the ban here should actually be the Tomo, because the Tomo can spread debuffs around, but he might ban out the Water Dryad. And so either or is okay. It's going to be one of those two. Taking out the Oliver means that LeChonk wants to take turn 1, but LeChonk's going to need to take a really big advantage with his opener and sustain that advantage if he wants to be able to take this one home.
Sustaining the advantage is going to be the key here for LeChonk. Let's see what happens as Miles kicks us off for Fallen Flower here in this round 2.
Yeah, and if you notice here, that Vert is on Swift here, so that Vert's going to move very quickly here. LeChonk's going to be able to do a lot of damage, but that Antares gets a massive proc off the bat.
Yeah, big proc right there. So much damage coming after that Vertial from the Antares. Serious Matter's going to come out and reduce the attack bar and reset some of the units here. We've got Karma landing on top of that Antares. I'm sure Antares doesn't care too much about that Karma.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why he laid the Karma onto the Antares. He should have laid it onto the Miles and then spread out both debuffs on the team. So again, another user error there, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. LeChonk is on such a back foot there. He's not in a good spot, not enough damage, not in a good spot to win this here. And LeChonk's going to lose another unit and go down 2-4.
Yep, most definitely. You could see Wateryu trying to deal a little bit of damage to that Antares. Kama's coming out once again onto the Masha. Not going to use that skill 2. He's going to continue using the skill 1, putting LeChonk at a 2-unit disadvantage.
Yeah, putting LeChonk at a 2-unit disadvantage. This Centaur has taken so many turns here. That's just a lot of damage coming out from Falling Flower here. We're going to see his Tomo go down. Tomo's generally very scared, but we do have that Gurkha. Once Gurkha goes off, this game's pretty much over.
Yeah, 100%. Nice little Despair Stun, though, on top of the Antares and the Gurkha, but that's a lot of damage coming towards that Tomo. I'm not sure Tomo is going to be lasting much longer.
Tomo definitely not. Miles going to take a turn here. And again, there's a Gurkha versus a Moor, and there's also 2 more units on the field, so Falling Flower looking really strong in this matchup.
It really is. Able to get that defense break to capitalize on a little bit of damage. No Provoke's going to be landing from that Gurkha. Big skill, too. And stun and finish as well. Fallen Flower taking round 2.
Yeah, so Falling Flower just having a lot of aggression on his side of the field here, a lot of threat. LeChonk brought in an interesting comp, but with that Verd being as squishy as it was, I mean, you saw that proc from the Antares basically take out like 2/3 of its health out the bat. So that Verd's not going to be able to survive as much. I think if you're going to bring in a Verd that way, it needs to be tanky and survive a lot of RNG. And also, if you're going to bring in a Verd, your other units need to do more than just a simple AoE reset or like the more doing a little bit of chip damage. You need to have a much more impressive Fire Bison type of play come in. So unfortunately, LeChonk not bringing in enough threat to warrant bringing in the Verd. So that first turn advantage really didn't mean very much for him.
No, not at all. Do you think if LeChonk had better threat assessment, possibly with that Toma, that we could have seen maybe a different result, or do you really think it was just not having enough threat?
I think it's not enough threat. I mean, he needs to do damage. At the end of the day, you win this game when your opponent's monsters get to 0 HP. And so he is not able to do enough damage. We saw some user error with the Tomo too. I mean, the skill 3 on the Tomo was able to spread all the debuffs around. So that Miles was already stunned. So he should have thrown skill 2 onto it and then 3 to move it across. So LeChonk just showing a little bit of an interesting usage of his skills there. Takes out the Masha. Verd pre-ban is kind of interesting there. Going into a purple screen there, I just threw this whole game out of whack here. Everyone got confused from that Verd pre-ban here. And again, Falling Flower going with this Molly pre-ban. I think LeChonk is going to go with the AoE cleaving team as we saw. And if he's able to use his Light Monkey a little bit more effectively, might be able to take a game back.
Yeah, let's see what happens here, because LeChonk looks like he's going after that first game draft, which was very, very successful to him, but just not successful enough to win the match. Fallen Flower potentially going to be changing up that draft that he had in that first match.
I mean, we'll see if Falling Flower thought he won by luck or not. Falling Flower goes for the Dominic Riley, so same exact setup. We see LeChonk actually push in a Jogun earlier in the draft. Kind of an interesting choice to do so here. I'm not sure I like that. I think it's okay, but it does push him into, it does push him all into the AoE.
Well, very interesting last pick coming out of LeChonk. We've got Leona making an appearance right now, and that can be a tricky unit to deal with here.
If you lay in a Leona, you need to take out the Dominic, because the Dominic can take out your Leona. So interesting choice to lay that out and then take out the Molly. So now LeChonk has an AoE team into a Leo here, but again, that Light Monkey is not exactly the best in a Leo because every unit has the same speed, so LeChonk might run out of steam pretty early on.
Yep, let's see what happens as Leo kicks us off here. Let's see what kind of damage we're going to see out of Fallen Flower. Chooses to go for the Water Ryu instead.
Yeah, so Water Ryu is able to knock units back. We're going to see a Jogun seal off that Leo, and once he seals out that Leo, we're going to have that AoE Chung Pung Light Monkey combination going on.
Yep, let's see what happens here. We got 2 Despair Stones come out, the Dominic and the Riley. Defense spray comes out with the additional turn, and Serious Matter is going to be hitting the field, getting that reset on top of the Water Druid.
Yeah, and unfortunately not able to lock down that Water Druid, but Water Druid is reset. This Dominic has a defense break on it, so it's going to take a lot of damage here. I don't know why he's going after Aurelio. Should be going after Dominic here. Goes after Aurelio. Actually, that's okay. Takes out the Aurelio. It's going to take out the Aurelio here, but that Leo comes back, and Aurelio's going to have a big Wild Cure.
There is that Wild Cure. No Provokes landing on any of the units for LeChonk, so a little unlucky for Fallen Flower there. He's going after the Jogun first. We're going to see the attack potential going out onto that Leo. Chooses to go for it on top of the Dominic there. A little bit of attack bar pushback here. Big second skill coming out from LeChonk's Chung Pung.
Yeah, and this Light Monkey does not land enough stuns. Falling Flower could be in a good spot here, but does get a stun onto the Riley, so Falling Flower is not going to be able to stabilize just yet.
Yep, not just yet, but a nice little dish return. He's going to be hoping for a stun here. Chooses to go for a stun there, not receiving anything.
Does get a massive proc on the Light Monkey, so as long as LeChonk gets another turn here, he's going to be able to lock down Falling Flower.
Oh, here comes another big heal coming at a Fallen Flower. Provokes do land this time, though. Definitely working in Fallen Flower's favor here.
Yeah, once this Light Monkey goes down, LeChonk's not going to be able to lock down Falling Flower. We might see the first 3-0 defeat in SWC.
Not take advantage of the branding because there's no reason he needs to do that. He's going to go right after the Chunk Punk as the unit to attack next. There's that first skill there, dropping that Light Monkey King.
Yeah, now LeChonk is in the same position as he was in the other game with Light Monkey. No Light Monkey on the field means that he can't lock his opponent down. That Dominic's just doing so much damage. Gets a proc here, gonna do a ton of damage to this Chunk Punk.
Yep, and we're gonna have Riley's totems coming up here. We've got immunity and attack buff up. Dominic's gonna be pumping in some serious damage. No sense in using serious matter here when you can't get any value out of it. Here we go, big second scale, lands that branding, moves that unit from the field. Looking so good from Mr. Fallen Flower right here.
Yeah, Falling Flower looking dominant here, able to use that Leo, able to use that Dominic, should take this one easy, take this one home, 3-0.
Despair Sun going out on top of Leo to no avail. LeChonk's not going to be able to keep up with any of the damage there. He's going to be losing the Joe gun here, choosing not to quit.
Definitely choosing not to quit, wants to enjoy the last moments of SWC on his chair and not on his couch.
Fallen Flower being one of our first contenders to go from all the way in the back to moving forward, taking down LeChonk here in this best of 5, getting that 3-0. Nice little Despair Stun, though. I just don't see Water Ryu finishing off anything here.
Water Ryu definitely not doing the job here. I think Falling Flower just needs to hit the auto button and walk away.
Yep, there we go. We've got Riley just throwing up the buffs. Wondering what we're going to be doing here next.
Yeah, we're going to see Leo do a lot of damage, and we're going to see 3-0 in favor of Falling Flower.
Big 3-0 coming out of Fallen Flower. Huge congrats moving forward in today's tournament.
Yep, there you have it. It is a victory for Fallen Flower.